that lighting shows up better on the screen than it does on my camera here, but it does. So, happy Mother's Day to everyone out there who's got children of the two-legged variety or the four-legged variety. You know, I have my fur baby, and she got me a Mother's Day card, so that was nice. Hope you all are having a chance to relax a little and talk to your children, spend time with your kids or grandkids, you know. And Mother's Day is always, you know, when I lived in Virginia, Mother's Day was when we went to the garden center, and that's when you could start feeling comfortable that you could plant plants. And well, actually that was more Colorado. Mother's Day was when you could be pretty sure that it wasn't going to freeze, although it still might. But Virginia, Easter or Mother's Day, you know, instead when you started being able to plant your outdoor flowers and get ready for summer and making things beautiful, right? So I hope you all are having a great day. So it's week 19. Can you believe that? We are going to draw our cards today, and then I am going to use the cards with the April Bargain Bead box once again, because I couldn't come up with a project that I wanted to do. I was going to do something, you know, like floral flowers, just because, you know, it's spring, and, you know, Mother's Day, everybody brings out flowers, but I didn't have time to come up with something. So, hey Janelda, thanks for joining me. Hope you're having a great day. Let's see. I've posted the sale information for our new desert collection, and thanks for those of you that already ordered. Your stuff was mailed on Friday, so you should get it no later than midweek is what they're saying, so hopefully that all gets to you smoothly. I'm going to I'm still deciding when I'm going to start rolling that into my cards, but yeah, it won't be this week or next week, so we will do it soon though. I've also been transferring videos, so if you're following me on YouTube, if you aren't, please do. Please subscribe. One of my goals this year was to get past 50 subscribers so I can do live videos on there, and it'll allow me to actually, I can stream on both at the same time, which will help those of you that would rather watch on YouTube would get to see a live feed. Anyways, I have transferred over all the, I may have one more to go, but all the videos that I thought were worth saving. I had one from this year that I'm a little disappointed that I didn't get to in time, but anyways, since beginning of April, all of this year's will be there, and then there's a couple from early in the year before they changed the rules that I did put over to YouTube. Otherwise, my criteria was if I was doing something a little bit different, some technique that I wasn't necessarily going to try again, I went ahead and transferred them just because I thought they would be interesting to have. But, you know, we made a lot of earrings and necklaces and bracelets. I didn't transfer all of those unless there was something kind of unique about the combination there. So anyways, but these videos are all going to be there. So anyways, if you haven't already, please subscribe to us on YouTube. I think because I've been posting a lot of videos, I have been getting some views. So, you know, that's cool. You know, hopefully that'll transfer into some followers, because, you know, I'd like to get more of us participating in our contests and everything else. So would love to see you guys out there, and please, please, please don't be scared to post in our Bead Stash Challengers group. We are a supportive group. We love to see what people make. We want to see you grow as you get further in your jewelry making career. Just remember, we all started somewhere, right? And I still make things that I'm like, I'm not sure I like that. And then other days I'm like, wow, did I actually make that? You know, so I can always surprise myself. But anyways, we want to encourage you to participate in this fun hobby. And for some people, it's more than a hobby. For me, it's kind of somewhere in between. Yes, I do have this business, I do have this channel, but it's not my livelihood. It's still more of a hobby, and I do it while it's fun. So anyways, that's where we're at. So let's get on with our drawing so that you can all get on to your Mother's Day activities if you haven't completed them already. So let's flip the camera here. See if I can stop that. All right, hopefully that's not too zoomed, but you know, it's probably better too zoomed than not zoomed enough, except we'll have to see how that works with the... All right, so first thing we're gonna do is draw cards, see what we're gonna make this week. So those of you that are new, we always draw cards on Sunday. And then I will go through my stash and figure out what I'm going to use in my project. And then Thursday, we're going to make the project. So the Bead Stash Challenge deck comes with 3 different kinds of cards. So we have the make cards, we have use cards, and we have challenge cards. And my deck here is made up of make cards from all of the currently available decks except for the new Desert Southwest deck. Okay, so I have shuffled all the make cards from our deck 1, which you should buy deck 1. If you want to try it out, just buy deck 1. Deck 1 is kind of generic. It's got generic projects and all that stuff in there, and it's sort of the basis for the others. Now the Sun and Sea deck and the Desert Southwest expansion deck, you could use by themselves. It'd be very focused on that subject, right? Whereas the others will give you more variety of things to use in your projects and to make. But you could use, like I said, the Sun and Sea deck or the Desert Southwest deck by themselves. But I recommend starting with deck 1. And then we also have a color deck, which adds lots of anything color to our use and challenge cards. And then we have the non-jewelry and findings deck. And the non-jewelry and findings has lots of things to make as well as lots of things to use. But all right, let's see what we're going to make this week. We are going to make a bracelet helper. Okay, those of you that don't know what that is, so I have a couple of them here. And I have just a blank one too. So basically you have a hook that allows you to hold on to one side of your bracelet while you're putting the other part in. And it's really handy for ones like, so like this one, I have one of these sliding clasps. So to use a bracelet helper, I take the clip and I attach it to the end that doesn't have the clasp on it, and then I use my other hand. I hold it like this, use my other hand to open it and put it on there. Okay, so this one was made with just, you can buy just these alligator clips, and then I used wire to make the back, and I could make it pretty, I just haven't. These ones were ones that came with the stick, and we have one with padded ends as well as non-padded ends. They don't really scratch them up because you're not going to be moving them around that much. But anyways, if you are interested in these, I do have a packet of findings for making non-jewelry stuff that includes a couple of these. So, all right, what are we going to use to make it? So using the use cards is what parts am I going to pull out of my stash, my bead stash, to use in my project. Now you'll see like this pile is kind of low right now. So as I've been drawing this year, these first 19, because we started the year with all of the cards. So 18 weeks worth of cards have already been removed from these piles, and they're set aside so that I don't repeat a lot of things. So just so you know, this is not a full pile. But you can draw as many used cards as you want. Now, I draw 3. Janelda usually draws 3. I think 3 is a nice, it adds a nice challenge to what you're making. So, all right, so we're going to use rainbow finish, beads or metal in our design. We're going to use a single to multi-strand connector in our design. Think about that, but I'm sure I could make that happen. And we're going to use chunky beads in our design. Now, so the chunky beads is from our base deck. The rainbow finish beads or metal are from our color deck, and this single to multi-strand connector obviously is from our findings and our non-jewelry and findings deck. Okay, so all right, so the last thing we're gonna do is we're gonna draw a challenge card. And challenge cards are just a little something extra, so it can add a theme to your design. So in the case of our Sun and Sea deck or our Desert Southwest deck, you're going to get themes that go along with those categories. With the main deck, you're going to get maybe some design challenges, or you know, something that needs to be added to your design that's just a little bit different, right? So here we go. So in this case, we're going to add a pop of color to our design. So that actually, you would think that's from the color deck, but I actually think that one's in our base deck, right? So adding a pop of color may be, you know, a lot of times like yellow, orange, maybe a really bright like pink or red even. Those kind of things can be a pop of color, right? So we shall see how that works out. All right. So almost mixed my cards up here. We are going to make a bracelet helper. We're going to use chunky beads. We're going to use rainbow finish or metal in our design, and we're going to use a single to multi-strand connector in our design. So those of you that have, you know, like chandelier earring thing can be a single to multi-strand connector. You'll also see those sometimes. You can buy them for bracelets. So anyways, that'll give me a little thinking, a little stuff to think about as we do that this week. All right, so I didn't really, I didn't have time to come up with, this is, you know, something to make today. So I'm going to pull out my single deck. That's just my deck 1. Hey, Marionica. I'm going to take out these cards that we used last time with this kit, and we're going to use our April bargain bead box. Those of you not familiar with bargain bead box, they have a monthly subscription. It's like $23 or something. And you get a collection of gemstones, crystals, findings, and an assortment of other beads to go with it. So when we're using this deck with one of those kits, so almost all of the people that put out monthly kits like Softflex and Bargain Bead Box and any of the others, I won't even, I know the Bead Place has one. I know there's a bunch like Potomac Beads. All these people, lots of people have them. So they can often have a theme. That theme might be a color. A theme might be a, you know, in this case it's April showers. So you may or may not want to use the challenge cards. So we'll get there in a minute. But let's just use, let's see what we're gonna make. And you'll see, you know, the make pile isn't that big when you're just working with that single deck. So we're gonna make a bracelet. All right. And so we can draw some used cards. They may or may not work depending on, you know, what's in the kit. So the bargain bead box has findings. It has different sizes, different shapes, different kinds of beads. So we'll try this. If there's things that aren't in the box and I don't want to pull something out of my stash real quick, then we'll just set that card aside. But, you know, we could just use the make cards to decide where to get started. So use links in our design. I think we can do that. Use stretch cord. Okay. Certainly do that. So use pearls or shells. The particular kit I'm working with does not have pearls or shells. Sometimes they do. This one does not. So use at least 5 different types of beads. We can probably do that. All right. So I could decide whether to draw a challenge card or not. Again, in this deck, these challenge cards, a lot of them aren't themes necessarily. Some of them are, but some of them are design challenges. I guess I should shuffle that. Did I shuffle those already? I don't remember if I shuffled, but we'll draw it and see if we if it works. It works. If not, we'll draw again. So design something for a party. So yeah, you know, we can do that, right? All right. So this is what we're going to work with. To rethink, let me grab my stretchy cord. All right, we have stretchy cord. And let's examine what's in the kit that we can use with this. We have used some stuff already, but anyway, so we need 5 different types of beads. So I was going to use some of these different gemstones. So we've got Amazonite in 2 different sizes. We've got some clear crystals. We've got some silver beads. So that's 4 types. And I'm going to say the crystals make it something I could wear to a party because, you know, you got to have sparkle for your party, right? So let's see what else. This blue, I don't love that blue with we could just put one of these little blingy crystals on there. So that would make our 5 our 5 different types of beads. Okay, I got the stretch cord out. So now let's see, what do we do for links, right? There are some links in here, but you know what, I think we'll create a link. And maybe hang a one of these cute little cloud charms from our link. Okay. Now, if you wanted to, you could, so like this 5 different types of beads, you know, we have ones that say types of beads. We also have ones that say types of components, right? So components is broader. It means your stretch cord, it means your clasp, it means all of that stuff. So, but beads, you know, again, so we've got 5 different types of beads, so that's fine. I think what I want to do is I'm going to make this into a link so that we're using a link. So I've got some silver craft wire. So the main thing with a link is it needs to have stuff on both ends, right? So I've got just some 22 gauge wire here. I am going to quickly make a wrapped loop, and then we'll string up our design. So I'm making that loop. So since I'm making a link, I want it to hook on both ends. So I'm going to go ahead and put this little charm on the one end. Okay. And then the other end is going to hook to the bracelet, right? So I'm just holding this still so I can wrap that end around. All right. Can always tuck that in further later on. And we'll make a quick wrap loop here. Now, I'm going to go ahead and close this loop because I can just string it onto my bracelet. So I'm going to hold that loop and I'm going to wrap this as far as it goes. And I'm going to tuck in the end there. All right, so this, now I don't need any of that stuff anymore because we're using stretchy cord from here on out, right? So all I'll need is my cutters. All right, so here's my link. And it's going to connect this to the bracelet. So it's a link because it has connectors, something connected on both ends. And this is part of my party thing, right? And that's also one type of bead, right? So now these crystals do have some spacer beads. And I could have chosen to use those, but instead I am going to set them aside. Put those back in the bag. I don't know how many I'm going to need, but we'll set those aside. And we'll pull out some of these guys. And I've been wanting to use these rondelles because I think they're really, really lovely. And you all know this is one of my favorite colors. So let's just pull some of those off. Amazonite is fun because it's just, I don't know, it's a happy, makes me happy stone. And we'll pull out some of these metal ones. Okay. So that may not be enough. I may have to pull out more beads, but now I just need to come up with some sort of design. You know what? I may I think I might do some sort of kind of like color blocking, but I'm going to just put like three of one kind of bead. So I may have to get more beads out too. So I'm using 0.7 millimeter stretch cord. Holes in these are big enough, so I could use 0.8. I probably wouldn't use anything thicker. I'm not planning on doubling my cord. Now, some people do choose to do that. All right, let's. All right, so there's my 4 types of beads. Now I can continue that pattern, or I can like reverse my pattern and then start it up again. To make this the center. Let's try that and see what we think. Because you know what, that way it's going to be extra sparkly, right? I just got to remember to put my my link on there somewhere. Oh, whoops, that's not what I wanted to do. It's supposed to be these ones, which I'm gonna have to pull more out of there. So if I was using different colors of beads as opposed to just different kinds of beads, this would be color blocking, right? But I don't know what it's called since I'm just using different kinds of beads. It's maybe just called a design choice, right? All right, so now I put my link on there. So let me measure that just because I'm curious how much more I have to put on there. So obviously I'm not going to be able to completely do this again, but we'll go at it. And you know what, actually I think I'll swap it out in a different order this time. I think I will do this guy. And see what we've got up. Let's see how long that is now. So you know, remember a bracelet. These are 8 millimeter, 6 millimeter, and 8. And 8 millimeter. So they do stick out from your wrist a little bit, right? So I need another 1/2 inch or so. So obviously this is not, this in theory is not going to be centered, but on the other hand, it's a stretch bracelet, so there's not really a start and a stop, right? So I think I need more crystals there. And we'll see if that's long enough. All right. I'm going to wrap this around my wrist and try not to drop it so that my beads don't go flying all over. But I need an idea of whether it fits. So I don't think I want more beads on there. So now I just have to decide am I happy with that? I think, I think it'll be okay once we, let's see, once we get it around here. It'll be good. All right, so now we have to do a good tie in our bracelet. Now, so you want to make sure you stretch this cord out. So I'm going to grab both ends and I am going to just stretch it gently. And this helps keep your bracelet from stretching out of control. So I am going to I'm going to do right over left. We're doing a square knot, and then left over right, but this time I'm going to wrap it twice, which is what makes it a surgeon's knot. And you still want to hold that bottom tight, but not stretched, right? And then we're going to pull that tight. And I like to do an extra right over left. Now, sometimes it is worth gluing these. I'm not going to glue it today, but if you are going to glue it, don't use super glue. Super glue will harden and make your cord break. Best thing to use is just hypo cement. But the other thing that you really want to do is tuck your knot inside a bead. So this helps because people won't know where the end of your bracelet is, and also it helps keep your knot from coming apart because it is inside the bead. So I'm going to try to pull it inside this clear bead. And sometimes you have to do a little pulling at both ends to, it's kind of a small bead. There. So I want it hidden in there. I suspect it's going to come out. And then carefully clip your edges without clipping your main cord. And there we go. So we have our April Showers bracelet. We made a bracelet. We used a link, which we made our link. Turn that because it doesn't sit. Sit nicely. There we go. All right, so we've got a bracelet. We made our own link, which we used with this cord. We used stretch cord. We used at least 5 different types of beads, so we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and design it for a party, so we added sparkle. You stretch it before and after string. Well, you know. I'm sure that yours probably behaved much better than mine. The other reminder to people, if you're not used to stretchy bracelets, you don't want to stretch it to get it over your hand. You want to make your hand as small as you can and just kind of roll it on, okay? So that it'll last longer. If you roll it on, I'm going to take my Bead Stash bracelet off. Um, and just show you, there we go. We've got a sparkly bracelet, and we're ready for our party. I don't know if I'm wearing it to like a bridal shower or something, but it's ready for the party. All right, let's flip our camera. All right, yay. All right, so week 19, we will be making our bracelet helper on Thursday at noon Pacific time, using some rainbowy stuff, using a connector, and using, what else was I using? I forget already here. We're using a single to multi-stand connector in our design. We're using rainbow finish beads, and we're using chunky beads. And we're going to add a pop of color. So that'll be fun. And here you have another example of how to use Bead Stash challenge cards with one of those monthly bead kits. So if you haven't already, please like and follow us on Facebook, Instagram, subscribe to Desert Cat Creations on YouTube. If you want to catch any of the older videos, they're over on YouTube. We've got our Desert Southwest card collection up for sale. So if you're interested in ordering, you can always comment on one of the videos and I will see that and respond to you, or you can message me directly at Desert Cat Creations. And we also, if you haven't already, please join our Bead Stash Challengers group. It's a great place to show what you're making and play along with the challenges. If you don't have cards, but you have a large bead stash and you want to play along, that's fine too. Just take, like, you can use my draw, you could use Janelda's, or whoever else happens to post their cards. You're welcome to make something with their cards. And as long as it's posted in the Bead Stash Challengers group, you get in on our monthly drawing and giveaway. That giveaway changes from month to month as to what I give away. Normally, I send somebody some beads or jewelry or something, but this time I gave $5 off an order, which doesn't sound like much until you realize that my card decks are like 15 bucks. My bead stash, or my bead collections, are 12 bucks. So nothing's particularly pricey. So you will be in Ohio Thursday and traveling home Sunday. Okay. Well, you have a safe trip, Janelda. We'll look forward to seeing you. And I said we'll be making our bracelet helper. And if you guys ever have any questions, whether it's, you know, about the cards, about any of my products, or even just you're struggling with something you're trying to make, go ahead and ask. I'm not saying I have all the answers. If it comes to the cards, I may have all the answers, but if it's something about how to make something, I may or may not. But I'd be happy to work with you, and I'm always happy to set up a separate discussion, or we can do a video call on Messenger if if you need to show me something, or if you need me to show you something, right? So I am always happy to help. So thank you again for joining me, and let's see if we can get the heart stopped working on my thing, and everything I read doesn't tell me how to get them turned back on. So there we go. I don't know how to turn that stuff back on, but we'll work on it. So all right, thanks again. Have a great week, and show me your designs. Love to see some stuff. So, and again, happy Mother's Day to all of you mothers out there. We'll see you on Thursday. Bye.